it'll be a full speed walkthrough. Nothing. Questions?
Sorry. Any updates on, Decker said yesterday that he was hoping that if it were up to him, he would play. If we can kind of get an update on him and Mosley and.
Yeah, I feel like probably the two that are trending the most positive right now would be Decker and Demo. Those are the two I'm starting to feel pretty good about. And then Kirby still, we're kind of wait and see here. We'll know a little bit more today. And E-Man is doing well. It's just a matter of, Brad and I have talked about that. Is it time or, do we wait until next week to see where he's at since we can't really practice, this week other than full speed walkthrough.
What is the, I know you don't have
Crickets.
Can you show us the full speed?
You seem more rested today. You get a little more sleep or just the energy?
Ready to go.
Even if Mosley doesn't play this week, I imagine you guys have some kind of plan to get him involved. So what does that look like? Is it rotation that he gets involved with early when you feel good enough to put him on the field?
That'll be the plan is work him in and I think more than anything it'll probably be by series. Certainly give him a couple in a row there to where he gets a good feel. And I think probably most of it'll be we'll put a governor on his reps so that we're smart about that as he comes back. So, and then really from there it's just about how does he feel? What's his body saying? And then it's just about getting in conditioning. Like the rest of the guys have done over time.
Really quickly, I'm sorry. Does that become the camp competition, I guess, that you expected with Jerry? Does that just transfer to the regular season? Those guys start pushing each other?
Yeah, I think that, we've said it, before here, and certainly, he's got to prove that he's still worth those reps, but I think that everybody feels pretty good about, as he goes out there, he's going to get his legs back under him pretty quick, but certainly it'll, we'll see where that goes, and the good news is if it's not quite there yet, then we still have Jerry, and we battle it out. So we're fortunate to have, both those guys.
I know it's a day-to-day, game-to-game world, but what did last year's sweep of Green Bay, particularly that last game, do for the momentum of this franchise going into the offseason and the season?
Look, that's a good win on the road, division opponent, and that's if you can't get in, that's the way you got to end it. You win some games and you find a little bit of a flow, and it's always good to win on the road, especially in this division. So, but I think that's the extent of it. And now it's a new season. We know we can win out there. We've done it before, but you got to go earn it. It's not going to be given. It's going to be it'll be loud. It'll be a tough environment. They're playing good, so here we go.
What's the benefit of having 4 quarterbacks in that room, especially on a short week like this week? Do you guys split things up with them? Do they have different assignments? I guess, how does that work on a short week, and how beneficial is that to golf to have that many guys in that room?
Well, I don't know how much benefit. I would say this, all of those guys do, maybe there's a little bit, because they do all serve a purpose. They all go on the road with us. They all kind of have a little bit of a job to do, and so whether it's even now or game day, helping us there on the sidelines, different looks, what'd you see, maybe charting some things, helping with the quarterback, helping with golf. So from that, that I think it helps. Hooker, it helps because he's learning. He's just getting a feel of what it's like. What am I looking for? What are you guys seeing? What are you looking for when you're? So that's more about him just gaining experience being out there. But I think Teddy, he's been around, he's seen it. Blau's a smart football player, he's seen it. So I guess in that regard, it helps certainly.
Dan, everybody you talk to about Cam Sutton talks about how smart he is, his anticipation, his work. What's been your overall assessment of his first 3 games in this defense?
offense.
Yeah, he's reliable, and that's what we invested in: dependable, reliable player who's competitive, and you know, he can play in multiple coverages, and he fits us well. You know, he's what we thought and then some.
You guys did such a good job getting after Ritter the other day. How sustainable do you think that production is?
Well, you'd like to think it is. You know, I know. I just go back to this. I think when everybody's just doing their part, and you know, we're staying disciplined to our responsibility, then everybody gets to eat. You know, and if we don't do that, and we're not all totally in tune, I think it can make it hard. You know, so you know, I'd like to believe it is sustainable.
Do you feel like this is a similar game after Atlanta's offense run happy, Packers kind of leaning on the run?
There are a lot of similarities. There are a lot of similarities in what they do. I think, you know, probably these guys more than Atlanta. There's a lot more of the turbo motion, you know, the fast receiver motion run game and some of the passes off of it. Atlanta did a little bit, not as much. More of theirs was oddball formation shifts, you know, two back, you know, the 21 pony stuff. But as far as, man, everything's built off the run, play pass off of it. They do have a lot of similarities. You know, and both of those guys are mobile quarterbacks. They have the ability to. It's not something that they hang their hat on, but they can hurt you with their legs. You know.
Just one other thing on the pass rush. Just watching some of those back, it looked like something that you had talked about the last couple of weeks was winning the one-on-one battles. I mean, even when they max protected, you had a guy that won one-on-one. So I guess it was probably good to see some of that from those guys up front.
It was. I mean, it was, and that's, you know, ultimately that's still what this game is about is winning your one-on-ones, you know. But you know, funny enough is that even when it's time to win a one-on-one, there are times when, hey, you got to win this one-on-one, but if you don't, you better go this way. Because if you don't, you're going to open a huge crease, and now, you know, and so there's still a discipline to it that makes it tough, you know, because you're on guys about winning their one-on-ones, and then all of a sudden, you know, you don't. Well, they're trying to win, you know. But we did a really good job, everybody working together last week, you know, and you play with that kind of energy, you know, you can cover up for a lot of errors.
Romeo was a healthy scratch in week 1, but you've obviously needed him the last 2 weeks. Seems to be just watching. He really follows through with what his assignment is every time. You talk always about crushing the pocket. Like, he's that guy that's doing that, those rush lanes. Like, how important has it been to have that piece able to step in when you need him?
Yeah, it's been very important. He's another guy, you know, to have that depth, you know, to have Romeo ready to go. We get banged up, and he steps right in. And I mean, you know, I'm sure you saw it there at the end of the game. He's playing 3 technique for us, you know, passing down some of the rush stuff and letting him work over the guard. But Rome's is somebody, he knows himself very well. He knows what he's capable of. He knows what it's going to take for him to win, and it's his length and it's his power, and certainly his motor. He's real good with his hands, but and he's been a valuable asset for us. He does a great job on the edge, and yes, he does. He can close it down, and it looks like that every day in practice too. I mean, every day. You know, it never stops. So fortunate to have Rome's.
Had 17 pass rush snaps on Sunday. Somebody didn't really do a ton at Iowa. Is that a role you always kind of envisioned for him? And if so, what's the potential there with his traits?
I think Jack, it was always, honestly, the versatility of him was always intriguing to us. You know, he's a big, long athlete. Obviously, he's smart, plays violent, but it was that intriguing to be able to, man, he's a legit stack backer, as in he's not, you know, he's got the length, whatever, but he can play it. He's done it. He did it at a high level, but also the ability to line up on the line of scrimmage and set an edge. He's got some rush potential. So, and that's what we're starting to see. You know, we're starting to work into that a little bit with him, and he's doing a good job, you know. So he can play both backer positions, and now we're working him at the Sam or that that OLB and nickel, some of that. So, you know, he's just going to continue to grow and get better. But it's good to see.
The decision to move him there more, we needed to figure out a way to get him on the field, or was it he had kind of not necessarily mastered the middle spot, but now you can put more on his plate?
I think it's more about getting our best group out there in base. Like, that's why, you know, he played a lot of the Sam. Like, we felt like that was a natural fit for him and for us. It's the ability. It takes some off of Charles, which is good. You know, once we lost Houston, then you lose another Sam linebacker. But also to get him on the field, because we felt like it was something he could excel at. He certainly he's good in coverage there, and I mean you got a little taste of it. You could see it. But also I just bring up again, to be able to go nickel, you know, 4 down, 2 backers, and he's one of them. He can get to the edge of the line. Really, Barnes can do some of that too. So it just gives us a lot more flexibility.
Dan, after the win last week, you talked about the defense playing violent and hungry. Is that something that manifests throughout the week, or does that appear on game day? Can you kind of see it coming? How do you know that that's what they're going to be?
Well, I just think, you know, you're always putting an emphasis on these things, or you're trying. Sometimes, you know, it's part of what you believe you are, your identity. And then, you know, sometimes you get so locked in on other things, or you lose a little sight of what you really are. You're more, you know, you focus on the scheme, or you focus on this, or here's my response. And you forget that, you know, the essence of what we do is still, man, you got to play population of football. It's all about the hustle. It's all about the hit. It's all about, you know, working as one unit, all these things. And so I think when you refocus that and you get back to the basics, and those guys really hone in on it. And we did some things in practice last week where we emphasized it a lot. You know, we started a period over a couple times. We talked about everybody running the ball. If it wasn't good enough, we'd start it, you know. So just some of these things, and they practice that way. There's an emphasis every day on it, which starts with us coaches. And then it pays the dividends. And then it's just about, man, those guys get confidence. They see what it breeds, and now it's up to them to keep it going, you know, which they can. So now, I said that in practice, we're not really practicing, you know, other than.
I was going to ask that. Is it more challenging on a shorter week?
It is, but they're going through the same thing we are. So that's why we're all on a level playing ground.
The rookies have been able to make an impact. Jack Campbell, part of that. You have 2 up for Rookie of the Week. Looking at them individually, what has impressed you most about Brian Branch and Sam Laporta?
Well, I think what we saw in college, a few of the things that really caught our eye. It's one thing to see the production in college, but to know, man, they are very instinctive, aware players. They're smart, and they play fast. You know, and what you saw in college is what you're starting to see here. Their instincts are there, and they work extremely hard. And I would say they're both becoming pretty dependable, you know, pretty quickly. You know, now both of them they're rookies. They still have rookie errors, but I would say they're growing extremely fast, you know, and they're both guys that don't make the same mistake twice. And that's, when you're talking about rookies that can grow and develop quickly, that's what they all have in common.